I'd like to talk about the cost of carrying everything alone. But before we get onto that topic, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Ghazala at the Heart and Soul Cafe. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're here for the first time, then welcome. You're very, very welcome. So the cost of carrying everything alone. It's so, so important to share. And you may think, well, if I was to talk to so-and-so about my troubles and talk to so-and-so, talk to him, talk to her, well, what good is that going to do? For one thing, they might go and share it with others, and that's not something that you want. Okay, that's one point. Another point is, well, my circumstances aren't going to change. Everything's going to be the same. I'm still going to have those problems and those issues. You know, things aren't going to be fixed. Therefore, why do I need to share anything with anyone? Does that sound, does that, can you resonate? Do you resonate with that? Is that you? Okay, so the first thing to think about is, if I was to share something with somebody and then they were going to go and, spread that information, then you're thinking about the wrong person. Then you don't want to share it with someone where you have that doubt. Okay, you need to share. First of all, you need to find someone that you can trust before you share anything. Okay, whether that's a colleague, whether that's a member of your nuclear family or extended family, or an outside friend. So it's not someone who's at work, not a colleague at work, but an outside friend. So first of all, you need to think about, well, who can I trust? Okay. Then when you found someone that you can trust, it needs to be someone that gets you, somebody that you can sort of feel comfortable talking to. There's no point talking to someone where you feel as if, their expression is as if you're talking in another language. That's not going to help. So it's somebody that you trust and somebody that you feel comfortable talking to, and also, you're sort of someone that understands what you're saying, someone that you feel would understand what you're saying. And then the next point that I made was, well, what good is it going to do? Because my circumstances are still going to be the same. Yes. Because that person is there really to listen to you. They're not there to fix things. They're not there to assume things. And they're not there to make assumptions about you if they're a good friend and they're listening. Okay? It's not about fixing. It's about offloading. When you share something, when you offload, what happens is that the thoughts that are in your head and the feelings in your heart, these things come out, because you bring these things out, from your tongue out, and you can actually hear what you're saying through your own ears. And then when that person maybe paraphrases, let's say, or says things back to you or asks you questions about it, it will prompt you to ask questions. And sometimes you'll find that you are over worrying and over, ruminating. Negative thoughts are going on in your head. When you share things with others and other people then say it back to you, you then might realize that maybe I was worrying about something that I didn't really need to worry about, or something that's completely out of my control. So why am I worrying about something that I can't control? Why am I doing that? So you may feel that it might put things into perspective for you. It might help you to compartmentalize things, and that might help. So you might think, well, okay, I'll still have the same problems and issues that I had before I started sharing with somebody, but you might realize quite a lot of things, and those things might be, okay, I don't really need to worry about that so much right now. That's something that I need to do at the end of next month. Why am I thinking about it now? It might help you to, when you say things out loud, sometimes it helps you realize that, oh, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe I was just jumping to conclusions about that certain situation where you felt that you were treated badly, or whatever the situation may be. But it just puts a different perspective on things, and that in itself can be, beneficial. So for you not to have shared it and just sort of, it's just, stewing and simmering in yourself, to bring it out in the open and share it with somebody else might help you put things into perspective. So if you're thinking, well, what good will it do? Well, it does. And just the process of offloading, that sharing, sort of helps to alleviate that burden. And it absolutely does do that. But I think it is quite important to find the right person to do that with. And sometimes that might be counselling, that might be talking therapy that you turn to, because you don't have somebody around that you feel that you can trust. So that is the time where then you need to reach out and say, I think I need a little bit of something. I think I maybe need to, talk to someone. You might be getting in touch with the Samaritans or some sort of talking therapy perhaps, but a little bit of something I need right now to just sort of offload some of this. And the first thing to do is to acknowledge that you actually are experiencing that. And sometimes we don't even do that. We don't even think, oh, I'm carrying a lot right now, and I'm just carrying all this on my own. And is this good for me? Because we don't even realize that we're doing it. So first thing is to actually realize, and we only can realize these things if we do a check-in. Where am I at? If I'm waking up in the morning with a burden, sort of this heavy feeling in my heart, my sort of that sinking feeling, then where's that come from? Is it that, I'm going through life, doing the things that I need to do, but I'm not really looking after myself? Am I just doing it on my own because there's no one that I can share it with? So check in. I think that's important, and do think about that. There's something that I have to do a lot of, because in my line of work, in my counselling and in my mental health first aid work, a lot of people come to me to offload, to share, what's happening with them, what they're going through. So what do I do with that information? I'm quite good at it, actually, as I've been doing this for quite some years now. And I do have a way of, sort of filing things away, and then I don't carry that with me. So I've got different hats I wear. So I've got my mental health hat that comes off when I've finished. I've got my counselling hat that comes off when I've finished. I suppose I've got this YouTube hat now that I take off when I finished. I don't necessarily want to carry things that I've talked about, for the rest of the day. I'd like to maybe, I might go out and spend a bit of time with a friend, perhaps, and then just talk about something completely different. And that will then help sort of recharge my batteries for the next day when I'm sort of working again, or whatever I'm doing. That's quite important to do that. So however you deal with things, it's to find what works for you. That's what you need to do, I feel. It's not the same for everyone. So if I go to a friend and talk about things and offload there, then that's what I do. You might feel that you need a bit more of a professional approach. You might need therapy, talking therapy. You might need a little bit of counselling to sort of offload, and that's okay too. It might be a friend that you turn to. It might be a family member that you turn to. But to carry everything that you're carrying alone, in the long run, and if you're doing it for a long space of time, that can lead to all sorts of things. If you're grieving and you're not sharing with anybody what you're feeling and experiencing, that can lead to prolonged grief. And PGD, so prolonged grief disorder, is a thing. It is a recognized disorder. It's because we're not sharing, we're not processing anything, we're not actually bringing anything to the tip of our tongue, and having our ears hear it, we're not processing anything. We're not sharing with anybody. We're not hearing anything back. We're just allowing it to just probably inwardly, consuming us. You might refer to as that silent grief, and that can lead to prolonged grief too, or complicated grief. Complicated grief and prolonged grief is more or less the same thing. We're just complicating things even more because we're not processing anything. And again, that can lead to other mental health conditions also. If we're not processing, if we're not sharing, it can lead to PTSD, secondary trauma, although you might have primary trauma, you might have secondary trauma from that. And I've done videos about secondary or vicarious trauma, previous videos about that. Do take a look. But it might lead to other mental health conditions. It might lead to PTSD. It might lead to OCD. It might lead to depression, anxiety. So there's all sorts of things that it can lead to if we don't find a way of offloading, of sharing, and not carrying what it is that you're carrying alone. If you are one of these people and you're watching this video and you are carrying something alone, one of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel is really focusing in on that one person, that lonely person, that person. Not lonely person is that I'm giving you a sort of a definition there, but someone who is feeling lonely in whatever it is that they're carrying, whether that's grief, whether that's, you've experienced a loss, or you're struggling with something mentally. It really is, hopefully I create this platform where we can share and we can say, look, I am struggling, and someone else in this community, hold out their hand and saying, well, you're not alone, and having those discussions. And it really does help. Carrying something on your own can be so isolating, lonely, and frightening. And you lose all hope because you don't see any way out of it if you're doing that. So I hope you do comment, and I hope the content of this video has been helpful. Please do share, please like, subscribe. We need more subscribers. We need lots and lots of subscribers. Actually, we have a few. Those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for that. But we do need lots more. Otherwise, do comment, do like, and I'm saying it again, repeating myself, but otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Please look after your hearts and souls. Thank you.